Shocking animal encounters you've never seen in Africa. The mysterious crocodile's revenge. The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant shades of orange and pink as Jacob, a seasoned safari guide, navigated the dusty tracks of the Serengeti. He had led countless tours in this vast landscape, but this evening was different. He could feel the air thick with tension. A group of tourists had come to visit, eager to witness Africa's magnificent wildlife. But today, they'd be part of a story that no one could have predicted. Jacob's vehicle rolled to a stop near the edge of a secluded watering hole, where several animals had gathered to drink. Giraffes, zebras, and antelope sipped cautiously, knowing the dangers that lurked just below the surface. "What's that movement in the water?" one of the tourists asked, squinting into the shimmering pond. Jacob's heart skipped a beat as he noticed the ripple in the water. It was subtle at first, but it grew stronger. A large shape slowly emerged, its eyes glowing with predatory intent. A crocodile, at least 15 feet long, surfaced silently, its long body gliding effortlessly through the water. It wasn't a normal crocodile, this one was massive, older than most of the crocodiles the tourists had seen before. But as the tourists watched in awe, something unexpected happened. The crocodile was not after the typical prey, the zebras or antelope. It was after something far rarer, a lone wildebeest, struggling to stay afloat in the water. The animal had wandered too far and was fighting against the current. The tourists gasped as the croc lunged, its jaws snapping shut on the wildebeest's hind legs. The water erupted in chaos, with the crocodile dragging its prey beneath the surface in a deadly ballet. However, just as it appeared the wildebeest would meet its end, the most shocking thing occurred. Another, smaller crocodile appeared from the depths, moving with unearthly speed. Jacob knew immediately what was happening. A younger crocodile was attempting to challenge the elder for the kill. The elder croc, in a terrifying display of territorial power, turned on its challenger, forcing it back into the depths with a single, powerful strike. The tourists watched in stunned silence as the older crocodile regained its grip on the wildebeest, completing the kill. The entire encounter, a fight between predator and rival, was something Jacob had never witnessed before. In his years of guiding safaris, he had only heard whispers of such intense territorial battles between crocs. The elephant's silent message. On another safari deep in the heart of the Okavango Delta, Maria, an environmental scientist, and her group were tracking a herd of elephants that had been radio-collared. The group was part of an ongoing research project, studying elephant migration patterns. They had been observing these magnificent creatures for weeks, but today would change everything. As they followed the herd through thick foliage, they came upon a clearing. The herd was peacefully grazing, with calves playfully darting between the tall grasses. However, one of the adult elephants, a large matriarch with tusks that almost touched the ground, was acting strangely. She stood off to the side, her body rigid, ears flared wide. Maria and her team kept their distance, knowing better than to disturb an elephant in a tense moment. But something caught their attention, a low rumble, almost like a growl. Maria's heart raced. Could it be a predator? Then, to their surprise, the matriarch walked toward the edge of the clearing. The other elephants began to follow her, but this wasn't the usual migration pattern. The matriarch was not leading them to water or food, she was guiding them to a hidden part of the forest, a place Maria had never seen before. The group continued their observation from a distance. After nearly an hour of trekking through dense underbrush, they arrived at a secluded area, a glade where the grass grew unusually lush, and a strange, haunting silence hung in the air. There, lying peacefully in the grass, was the body of a poacher. His rifle lay nearby, a grim reminder of his fate. The matriarch, with her keen instincts, had led her herd to this spot to protect them from the poacher's traps. But the elephants had also ensured that the body would never be discovered by any other humans. It was as if the matriarch understood the gravity of the situation, not only for her herd but for the safety of the entire forest. Maria, in awe, made a note in her journal. She had heard of elephants mourning their fallen, but never had she seen them actively prevent harm in such a silent, deliberate way. The leopard's vengeance. It was a dry season in Kruger National Park, and the wildlife was congregating around the shrinking waterholes. The air shimmered with heat, and the landscape seemed barren. But the animals knew where to go for water, and there, an unlikely drama was about to unfold. Mike, a seasoned photographer, was stationed near a large waterhole with his camera at the ready, hoping to capture images of the big cats that often frequented the area. He had already seen lions and cheetahs pass through, but today was different. As he adjusted his lens, he saw something unexpected. A young leopard, no older than 2 years, slinked into the clearing. Its coat was dappled and beautiful, a perfect camouflage against the brush. But as the leopard crouched to drink, it froze. Mike held his breath. A lioness appeared from the trees, eyes locked onto the leopard with a predator's focus. What happened next was something Mike had never seen before. The lioness, instead of attacking, paused. She seemed to recognize the leopard, but there was something more to the interaction. The leopard, with a sudden, surprising burst of speed, leapt towards the lioness, landing on her back with claws extended. Mike's camera clicked rapidly, capturing the moment of chaos. The lioness roared in surprise, shaking off the smaller cat, but the leopard was not backing down. In a shocking twist, the leopard hissed fiercely, and instead of running away, it leapt onto the lioness again, this time with the distinct intent of vengeance. The lioness, confused by the leopard's unprovoked aggression, turned to flee. But before she could escape, a male lion entered the scene, his massive mane blowing in the wind. He charged at the leopard, but the small cat was lightning fast, darting away into the trees, leaving the lioness and the male lion stunned. Mike, still in disbelief, lowered his camera. He had never seen a leopard challenge a lion, especially in such a fearless, almost reckless manner. The encounter left him wondering, was this an act of vengeance, or had the leopard simply learned how to defend itself in the wildest of ways? This story is only the beginning. The true essence of Africa's wild is its unpredictability and the constant surprises that unfold. Whether it's a crocodile's silent vengeance, an elephant's unexpected wisdom, or a leopard's audacious challenge to a lion, the wilds of Africa always offer something new, something shocking, and something unforgettable. The wildebeest's great leap. It was the beginning of the annual wildebeest migration, a natural phenomenon that drew hundreds of thousands of wildebeests, zebras, and gazelles toward the Mara River in Kenya. For many, the migration was an event of life and death, a time when the most primal instincts came into play. Tasha, a documentary filmmaker, had been following the migration for several weeks. She had seen the usual predator-prey encounters, but something strange was in the air this time. The herds were on edge. Tasha noticed the animals moving erratically, as if they were sensing something more dangerous than the lurking crocodiles or prowling lions. She followed a particularly large group of wildebeest as they approached the riverbank. Their hooves kicking up dust and their eyes scanning for danger. What happened next left Tasha breathless. A single wildebeest, an old bull with a scar across his side, took a few hesitant steps toward the river's edge. For a moment, the rest of the herd stopped. There was something different about this one. The other wildebeests seemed to recognize him. He was not just any wildebeest. He had led them across countless rivers before. But this time, as the old bull hesitated, Tasha saw the tension in the air. The wildebeest didn't just walk into the river, he did something unexpected. He turned back and stood at the edge, as if waiting. The rest of the herd halted as well. The river was teeming with crocodiles, their eyes peeking just above the waterline. They had been waiting, patient as always, for the herd to make the first move. But something inside the bull seemed to awaken. In an astonishing display of leadership and wisdom, he began to pace back and forth along the river's edge, as if contemplating the safest route. The herd watched him, every move mirrored by the others. Then, in an astonishing moment of clarity, the bull gave a single, powerful leap into the river, not in the direction of the safety of the banks, but straight into the deepest part of the current. The herd followed without hesitation. The younger wildebeests, normally skittish and anxious, were suddenly calm, as if they had gained confidence from the old bull's actions. They jumped with precision, crossing the crocodile-infested waters in an unspoken synchrony. In an astonishing display of animal instinct and leadership, the bull had led them safely across the most dangerous part of the river. The crocodiles, usually swift and ruthless, appeared stunned. None of them dared to strike at the herd, which moved like a unified force. Tasha had witnessed something no one had ever documented before, a moment when an elder animal took charge of the entire herd's fate. It was not mere survival, it was an act of leadership and wisdom passed down through generations, one that would be remembered in the wildebeest's long migration tale. The giraffe's silent defense. In the vast expanses of the Kalahari Desert, where the sun beats down relentlessly on the cracked earth, a group of tourists had gathered to observe the rare desert giraffes. These tall, graceful creatures were known for their ability to survive in the harshest environments, where water was scarce and predators were plenty. But the story that unfolded in front of them would defy all expectations. Lena, a wildlife photographer, had been following a small group of giraffes as they made their way toward a watering hole. It was late afternoon, and the temperature was beginning to drop, making the giraffes more active. The group had stopped in the shade of a small thicket when Lena noticed something odd, a large, shadowy figure moving behind the trees. At first, she thought it might be a lion. But as the figure emerged, she saw the unmistakable shape of a hyena. The hyena had been trailing the giraffes for some time, trying to isolate a weak member from the group. Lena's heart raced as she realized what was happening. The hyena was calculating its next move, knowing that a lone giraffe calf would be an easy target. But the giraffes weren't as defenseless as they seemed. The hyena circled around the group, hoping to find an opening. It inched closer to the calf, but before it could strike, something remarkable happened. The mother giraffe, a towering, graceful creature, turned with shocking speed and kicked out with her powerful legs. The hyena, startled by the unexpected strike, tumbled backward, but the mother didn't stop there. She charged toward the predator, her long legs moving with precision and power. Lena had never seen a giraffe move so swiftly in defense of its young. The hyena, now intimidated, turned and retreated into the brush. The mother giraffe, her body tall and imposing, remained vigilant, ensuring that the predator wouldn't return. The group slowly began to move again, the calf protected by its mother's swift and silent defense. Lena lowered her camera, marveling at the giraffe's protective instincts. It was a behavior that was rarely seen or documented, the giraffe's ability to defend its young against one of the savannah's most cunning predators. The desert was unforgiving, but here, in this moment, it seemed that the giraffes had mastered the art of survival in a way no one had fully appreciated before. The hippo's unlikely pursuit. In the heart of the Luangwa Valley, where the river twisted through the lush, verdant landscape, an encounter like no other was about to unfold. Henry, an experienced ranger, was guiding a small group of tourists along the riverbanks, pointing out the diverse wildlife that had gathered to drink from the river. A large pod of hippos basked lazily in the sun, their enormous bodies partially submerged in the cool waters. Hippos were known for their docile nature in the water but became incredibly territorial on land. Henry explained this as the group watched from a safe distance. But then, something shocking occurred. A lone zebra, separated from its herd, had wandered too close to the water's edge. Henry saw the movement just as the zebra realized its mistake. The hippos, who had been lounging in the river, suddenly stirred. One massive hippo, its eyes wide with fury, rose from the water and began to move toward the zebra. It wasn't the usual chase or defensive posture, this hippo, rather than retreating or warning the zebra off, was advancing with purpose. The group gasped as the hippo moved with terrifying speed across the riverbank, its bulk seemingly defying logic. The zebra, terrified, began to sprint away from the water, but the hippo's pursuit was relentless. It wasn't interested in a territorial defense, it seemed to have a singular goal: the zebra. Henry watched, stunned, as the hippo chased the zebra across the plains, covering more ground than anyone could have anticipated. It was rare to see a hippo pursue prey on land, especially one as large as a zebra. The chase continued for several minutes, until the zebra, exhausted, found a thicket and managed to disappear from view. The hippo, seemingly satisfied, returned to the water with a final glance toward the retreating zebra. The group was left in silence, unsure of what they had just witnessed. It wasn't the typical behavior of a hippo, and it was an encounter that no one could have predicted. The lion's resilience. As the sun rose over the savanna of the Masai Mara, the vast plains were alive with movement. The sky was painted in soft hues of pink and gold, and the morning light illuminated the silhouettes of lions lounging beneath the acacia trees. There had been a long drought, and food had been scarce, but the lions had adapted in ways that were nothing short of astonishing. Hassan, a local Maasai guide, had heard rumors from the nearby villages of a lone lioness that had been hunting in the most unexpected places. Most lions in the Mara focused on the herds, but this particular lioness had developed a strategy all her own. She had become the shadow in the grass, waiting for opportunities where no one expected them. That morning, Hassan and his group came upon her, a lone lioness, sleek and powerful, crouched low in the tall grass. She wasn't hunting the usual prey, though. Instead, she had targeted something far more unusual, a group of warthogs. What happened next was shocking. The lioness didn't attack in the typical way, by sprinting at her prey and using brute strength. Instead, she crept forward, so close that the warthogs didn't even realize she was there. With a sudden, quick motion, she leaped, not toward one of the warthogs, but toward the smallest of the group, the piglet. In a display of skill and precision, the lioness grabbed the piglet by the neck, darting away from the others. The warthogs screamed in terror, but the lioness was already gone, disappearing into the thick underbrush. For Hassan, it was a reminder that in the wild, nothing is ever as it seems. Even the most feared predators could adapt to new situations in ways that were beyond anyone's expectations.